So today we're just going to be looking at alignment, following on from one of the guys' posts about the lens not being parallel. I haven't got on to doing that yet, but I'm going to make up a little jig to measure all of that. But what I thought I would do is just see if we can engrave around one of these business cards at a very low power all the way around, and just see if there are any errors introduced by the Galvo whilst we're doing that. Obviously we would expect a perfectly crisp rectangle to be burnt, and I've just tried this, and much to my surprise it's nothing like it, and I'm going to show you now what we've got set up. So that is the camera that I mentioned. I did a video on the other day. We have got that just recording on that monitor. It's quite useful actually when you want to see, let's just click the F1 so you can actually see there, hopefully, the red line all around. I could have, it's pretty much near the maximum limits of this business card. So what we've done is we have drawn a rectangle there, power 100 Hertz, 30 kilohertz, and we've done 1000 speed. So if we just run that now, I'll just mark it. So very quick, and now I'm going to show you, hopefully, the problem. If it will show up, of course, which it may not do. I might actually have to show this under. Let me just try it on the other camera, see if it will show up any clearer. Yeah, see that top line there is bowed. The middle goes down towards the light. Actually, let's turn that light off. I'm not sure that's going to help much. Let's look at this side. So hard, I'm looking at this screen over there. That one is still bowed. This one, I don't know whether you'll be able to see on the inlay video I'm going to do. Possibly not, it's so hard to see. But again, is bowed down at the top. And that one, let me just look at it. Yeah, you can see that it goes off at the left side, it sort of curves down. Now we've got Galvo correction in the software, and it certainly looks like it needs doing. I'm going to try back on the other camera now, just see if we can pick this up or not. So hopefully we can get these two videos working. I just don't know how to display it. Let's try a black background, maybe that won't be as reflective. Okay, so if I zoom in there, you see the way that top line bows down, sags in the middle here, so that's clearly wrong. If we look at this one, it goes up and then across again, so that's wrong. If you look at this one, you can see it's right up the top of each corner, and then that sags down as well, and I don't think that is due to the card being wonky. If you put a straight line against that, you can see that it still is bowing down. Don't know whether it will pick up on here or not. So yeah, it's the machine and not the business cards. So we've got a few problems to sort out here. So we'll be going into that Galvo correction option, but first I think we're going to have to check that the lens is parallel. What I don't particularly like on this machine is this movement. Actually, let me see if I can Let me see if I can put the camera there for a second and hold the machine. Right, if you watch this, see that movement in the base just down here? You definitely don't want to see things like this moving around. There, if I'm holding the head, and if you watch, this is just too much movement in there. I don't think it's because something isn't done up. See the movement? If I try and hold the camera secure, none of this is very helpful, so I think we've got a bit of work to do there. These straight lines probably won't make much difference on a business card if you're not doing a square, you know, a rectangle frame. You might not notice it, but it's, you know, it's wrong, and that's why we have the Galvo correction on this. If you have a look here, area size, we've got to change all of this. I've got to go through it bit by bit, so we'll have to have a closer look at that later when I've got a bit more time. I'll try and work that out and do a video separately on that, but there's clearly something amiss, and now we're going to check this whole frame alignment. Probably cut out a acrylic jig at 130, the lowest focal distance is just what it's on now. You see the two dots are quite well lined up there, and then we'll do one at the maximum. So we probably need two jigs, one at 130 and one, whatever the highest is that we'll measure in a moment. So yeah, might want to look at this error correction on this if you're doing any straight lines around the edges of something. So we'll be back later on. Actually, so I came up with a more sensible plan, and I've just grabbed the test paper that the unit comes with. I'm going to try and put the camera right over the top. Now hopefully you'll be able to see we've got bowing out here, bowing out there, we've got bowing up in the middle of that line, and we've got pretty severe bowing down on this one, and that is business cards size, and we are looking at well, it's a little bit bigger area than this is supposed to do. That is 80, sorry, let's have a look, it's 81 by what have we got there, 52. Well, I can't see how having that shorter is going to get rid of that that bowing, but we can do a shorter one. Let's do one that is the correct size. In fact, let's get rid of this jig, and we will do one exactly as it's supposed to be. I can find something heavy enough to hold that flat. Right, so let's go back to this rectangle, and we'll just so position size, we're going to want to change the size here to 70, and we're also going to want to change that one to 70 and apply. So now we've got a 70 by 70 rectangle, and if we just put that into the center, and we'll just hit red. Now that officially is the marking size of this machine, 70 by 70, and you can actually see the bowing on the red lines, so yeah, that's not brilliant. No, I don't recall seeing that before, but let's just burn that now. So yeah, clear bowing all around that. just going to turn this around, and we're going to just increase the size that we can burn up to 80, and we'll just see what that does. Let me just select it again, and let's just lock that, and we'll change that to, actually sorry, let's try 90 and see what it does. So that is locked. We're going to open that and centre it there. So I mean that's almost to the edges of this table. We're going to do the red mark. So it's still on the paper, just. Now we're going to mark that, see what happens. There we go. Well, how the hell does it mark something that big when it's supposed to be a 70 by 70 machine? You can see the very exaggerated errors there now, hopefully, especially that top one. I mean the whole thing is curves out, curves out, curves in, curves in. So we've got a trapezium error there. So interesting. So I'm just going to go back there, and we're just going to increase this to the maximum. Just going to drag it into each corner, which I'm guessing is, what size is that? Yeah, it's 100. I'm going to change it in here because it looks like that is exactly 100, that area. There we go. So we're going to do a red. And it's still able to produce the red, although it's hideously distorted now. Let's just burn that as well. Oops, wrong one. Let's try that again. And there you go. Again, hopefully you can see the massive errors there, but we should be able to correct that. But I think what I'll do first is just go into the software and reset it, just in case. Look, if I show you that, that's probably the easiest way to see it. If I go from corner to corner, massive bowing. Again there, if I do a straight line next to the curved line, you can see just what the problem is. And again here you can see that error. So I think we've got to go into galvanometer correction and sort it out from there. But I'm definitely going to reset the software because I know that solved problems before. And don't understand why we were able to engrave such a large area. Did I get the size of this wrong when I purchased it? Let's just do some text. We're going to do right up the top here, and we'll just type in some garbage. Actually no, we won't. We'll just drag that the full width almost that we are working on. Sorry, trying to look at the screen and deal with the camera. Now let's just burn that, see what happens. Actually we'll mark it first. Okay, let's mark that. Interesting. So apart from the errors, we've got nicely printed there, and we are at, what are we at now? That's about 88 wide, although it says nearly 100. Yeah, okay, more work to do then. Okay, so whilst I was playing with that Galvo calibration, I managed to trigger the marking, and it's marked out, started to mark out before I've hit stop, so I've slightly damaged the surface there, but that one was an interesting one. If I power this up now, that's actually bang on the centre at that level. So that is pretty much, I think, the lowest that we can do. It's about 130, and it was in focus, so that was absolutely fine. But if we now raise that up to the top, we should see any drift in the main optics red laser pointer. So I'm going to move this up. Obviously it's going to get out of focus, which is unfortunate, so maybe this plan won't work. Let's see if it moves very much. Yeah, see this movement in the whole frame and the arm. It's not good, is it? So yeah, I don't know, we're still working on that one. This is part of the alignment process, but I mean, obviously I'm guessing you've now got to measure these and enter all the corrections yourself, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. Obviously this is way bigger than the what this machine is supposed to mark. This is almost 100. Where's me measure the ruler? I mean, you're talking 11 centimeters wide there, so it's clearly not supposed to do that. But even the correction, I mean, it's slightly out there. We're already going out, and that's only a couple of centimeters, and then the further you go, the worse it actually gets. But quite what you're supposed to enter and where is not entirely clear at the moment, but it's something we'll work on, I think, and we'll update later. It might take a few days actually. Over the weekend we might get to the bottom of this, possibly. Right, just one more thing I'm going to just mark before we go and do some research on the adjustment and check more thoroughly on this whole movement and whether it's parallel, the lens is parallel with the base. Just going to mark out 4 circles as best I can in the corner of the card. I'm just going to fire that up now. Maybe not. Maybe that mark. Oh, I did. Alright, so we're going to have a look at that. Now, it could be, we would like a graphic on the side of each corner, but you can see clearly that it's burnt that nicely. A bit of a gap in that one. That's not been done as well, and neither has that one compared to that one there. Now, it could just be that that card is a bit creased, so what we'll do is up the power to 100 and see if that makes the slightest bit of difference. It was on 75, and possibly that has helped quite a bit. If that will focus, it's not going to, is it? See if it will focus with some lines there. So that is better with the full power. So it's really a struggle with these straight lines, isn't it? You're not going to notice anything on the circles like that, but if you've got long straight lines, that may well be a problem. I can't get this to focus. It's a real pain. There you go. They look pretty good at full power. Alright, let's carry on. That's actually quite handy there, because you know where the centre is when you're lining cards up. You don't even have to have the machine on, and it really is true. That is a true centre mark there. It's a shame they didn't think about marking the bed. Right, just cut a little jig out, and if we check this side of the lens, if it will just stay in focus, come on, it's just touching there, but if we slide this across to the other side, and I can get it to focus again, hopefully you can see there's a massive gap. I mean, it's like probably 2mm out over the width of the lens, which is pretty bad. So it's probably that twist there that's causing the problem. So I'm going to have a look at this end first before we move to the mount on here. But it's definitely a long way out. So yeah, I just cut that out of 5mm acrylic, and actually looking at that, I think my laser is not cutting very square either, so that's something else I'm going to have a look at, because that is not right at all. You can see the angle on that top cut, hopefully. Yeah, not impressed with that, so more work to do on the CO2 laser. Right, so just cut a 200mm piece out, and we've just got clearance there, as you can see, and barely. And if we run over to this side, we've got pretty much exactly that same level of error that we had when it was, you know, right down at the minimum focal length. So, and with both hands, I have just wiggled this tower back to level. I'm sorry, parallel with the base, and then that seems to leave a gap that's very similar both sides. So I think we're definitely going to look at the base next. Okay, back again. So I have used a 0.8mm washer. I've just loosened all of the screws there. I've taken the head off, undone all of those screws, slid a 0.8mm washer into the hole here, and carefully tightened all of these up. And now if we look, we have a perfect parallel head, and it's not going to make any difference whether it's at the top or the bottom. So yeah, that bit is done, and we'll probably see quite a difference down here actually. So yeah, you can already see that light is going to line up somewhere else now. So what I'll do is I'll run that Galvo correction pattern again and see if this makes any difference. You can clearly see that is a few mil difference to where it was before. And if we, oops, wrong one. If we pop the template down there, actually it's the shorter one possibly. Might have to bring it down a bit more, but it's pretty much the same both sides. So yeah, absolutely fine. Shame that is now marked in the wrong place, but hey, there you go. But at least we know this is a parallel now, so it's heading in the right direction. The reason this was wobbling, believe it or not, is because the two screws here were completely loose. Don't know how I missed that during the assembly of this, but these are two separate screws, and I've just tightened both of them up, and now there is no movement there whatsoever. We've still got movement on this, but that's purely because the mount is, you know, on the bearings and the rod and everything inside, so you're never going to get rid of that movement, but we've certainly lost the movement in this, and now that is corrected. So we're going to run that Galvo test again and see what it comes out with this time. I'm not expecting it to make any difference. I think we've got to correct it manually. And after making the adjustment, we've got absolutely no difference in the shape. We're still missing the corners here. I changed the setting to that 65 by 65 mil pattern, and this is what it actually prints out. Super crisp. I mean, I've got no issues with the focus, I don't think. It's just the error correction on these straight lines. So we'll do some investigations on how you correct that. Doubt it's going to need each box calibrated. It's just yeah, well, I don't know, research is required there.